in this case, the next step before we put the shelves back in, or right after we put the shelves back in, is we should get some cleaning supplies from the store. This shelf happens to be in great shape. You know, it's very clean, but in some cases you may run into it where there may be it may be dusty or dirty, and so the very first thing you want to do is just spray a little cleaner on it, and then wipe that entire tray down or shelf down, so that when we put it back in, look, there was some dirt on there. We put that shelf back in, that it'll be a clean shelf. Now we're ready to put the shelf back in, and literally you pick it up, and if you support it like that, you've got your notches marked at the back, and so you tilt it up slightly just to put the top one in, and there it is, fit in, and it's perfectly level, so we're in good shape. I've got the shelf in the right place. Now I've got the shelf in the right place, and they've got all these shelf tags, and you can see the shelf tags on this shelf. These tags were aligned with the
Manfrey, call 250 Manfrey.
We're aligned with the previous products, how the previous products went on that shelf. So the next thing you want to do is take these shelf tags off. Probably get a little box so they don't fall all over the floor. And then, because you're going to have a brand new set of shelf tags to put on the shelf. So here I have two trays. It's got the swatch on the front of it, and I've determined that these two trays go side by side on the shelf like that. Now, in this side of this tray, there's a little notch, or there's a little tab, and in the side of this tray, there's a little notch. And so to give it greater stability, that little tab fits in that notch. Very easy to do. And now you've got those two trays, and they sit on the shelf like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the planogram, go back to our planogram, take a look at the order of the products on the shelf, and we're going to put the trays in the right order to begin with. Okay, so here we are, and now we have looked at the diagram, looked at the planogram, and followed it, and we've lined up the trays in accordance with the number of facings and the order of the product. And so how can you tell that? Well, as I think I mentioned earlier, each product has a shade number on it, right on the package, and each tray or each swatch has a brand name and a number on the front of the tray. And so this is H90, and if I come down here to the end, H90 goes right in there. And so now now that I've got the trays in the right order and the swatches in the right order, I can start to fill it with product. So now we've got and put the product back on the shelf in the order of according to the paper planogram. A couple things I would like to point out to you here. Number one is, if we can get a close-up here, is this is a 73, and it's green, and it's called Nutrice. And this is number 73, and it's called Bell Color. So this is 73 in Bell Color, and this is 73 in Nutrice. So you have to watch that carefully. And then if we look down here, this particular color must sell very well because it's Nutrice, and it's 643. So you can see that this is the same color, and it gets two facings rather than just one facing of this product right beside it. One final point. As you can see from this section here, the section is set up so that it's color-coded, and you'll find that throughout the hair color section. So this is all kind of apple green all the way from top to bottom, then orange from top to bottom for Bell Color, then Herbishine, which is darker green from top down to here, and then that's Garnier, a different one, but it's red, and then L'Oreal black, and then blue, etc. So if you get the section set up properly, then you should be able to see that there's some uniformity in terms of the color. Well, we're almost done, but there's a couple of other quick things that I want to bring to your attention. Okay, so when we put up this section, let's say that this item that I told you before has two facings now. But what would happen if in the old planogram it had two facings, and in the new planogram it only has one facing, and it goes 6 boxes deep, so now there used to be room for 12 boxes on the shelf, and now there's only room for 6. So what happens is we come up with an item that is supposed to be in the planogram, but is there's too much stock left over to actually fit in the current or the new planogram. So we have to get another box for the back, and we call it overstock. My writing's not so good. So this is a box of items which are supposed to go on the new planogram, but because they used to have two facings and now they only have one, or they used to have 3 and now they only have 2, we have some extra stock left over. So we put that in that box, and that's another box that we're going to give the manager at the end of the reline. So we've got all the products back on the shelf, and all the shelves in the right location. Section looks great. The second last thing we need to do is we've taken off all the old shelf tags, and we now have a sheet of brand new shelf tags, and you need to go along and put the new shelf tags in the right position under the product. This is a shopper's card, and so in this particular retailer, they want the shelf tag positioned on the right edge of the product on the shelf tray. So you can see that this shelf tray starts there, and that the shelf corresponding shelf tag fits right there, and the edge of the shelf tag is lined up with the edge of the tray, so forth and so on. And then if you get down, where do I have those two facings? Here you'll see 643 again, and they've got a shelf tag for each facing. In some cases they'll only have one shelf tag for 2 facings, so that in some stores you may find that they have a shelf tag like that, and then 2 facings. The shelf tag always is lined up with the right edge of with the left edge of the left-hand facing. So then you'd have facing and a price tag, a facing and a price tag. So it's important that the last step, once you get the shelves all set up and the products and the trays and the swatches put on there, that you put the new shelf tags on the shelf. The very last thing you want to do before you finish up is you want to call the store manager over and show them what you've done, or the assistant manager over and tell them what you've done. And you want to show them what a great job you've done, and compliment him on his section. You might also want to point out places where he needs to order stock. So this is a product, this is the right space for it, etc., but they don't have any of this product. So point out other stocks, or probably low places where there's low inventory, there's only one of this item, so that he knows that he needs to order that product. And once he agrees that you've done a great job on the section, you want to give him his box or boxes of overstock, and then we're finished. A couple things I didn't mention, but I'd like to mention is this is an aisle, and people are walking up and down it. So as we're doing this planogram or the reline, we need to keep ourselves neat so that shoppers can get by. And so at all times try and keep the aisle free so shoppers can go by, because we're working in the store at the same time as the store is open to the public. One last final thing that you want them to do is you want to get him to sign off on your paperwork, so that make sure that his name's legible. MCA does a sampling, follow up on calls to make sure that we get all the calls and the stores are happy. So when we phone the store to follow up to make sure the store is happy, we want to say, hi, I'm looking for Fred Brown, or whatever the gentleman's name is. Get him to sign off on your paperwork, and take the shopping cart, put it back at the back, thank the store for all their help, and then we're on our way. Thank you very much.